Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Lauren.
I'm Grandpa.
I'm Megan.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Tracy.
I'm Petey.
I'm Aunt Becky.
I'm Matt.
I'm Grammy.
Okay.
And we're some of the Veggie boys.
And girls.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because we can grow a lot of stuff on the farm, but one thing we can't grow is this channel without your help. Welcome back, everyone. It's so nice to see you. Last night we got hit with a pretty big storm and it left quite a bit of rain. I'm not sure how much rain because the first thing Dad did this morning was dumped out the rain gauge. That was his first job. But I'm not gonna worry about that too much right now. I'm just gonna work on getting this farm market all cleaned up and set up. Farm market is now set up and all ready to go. We still have a few minutes till we open, so we're gonna be filling some things up. But let me just say, our cooler is a little bit on the full side. These are all pickling cucumbers that we harvested yesterday. This is all zucchini that we harvested yesterday. And these are all pickling cucumbers that we harvested yesterday. Oh, believe me, I'm not done. And then these carts are full of pickling cucumbers. These are all for an order, but these are all full of pickling cucumbers as well. Now listen to this. Yesterday, we got over 55 baskets of pickling cucumbers. That's too much. But I guess it is what it is. We're gonna do our best to try and move these. But our first planting of pickling cucumbers, it's going a little crazy. But there's also a little bit of an issue with our first planting of cucurbits, which I'll talk about once we get out to the fields. Well, let me just tell you, those rows were lined with baskets. Lots of pickles out there. So what I'm gonna do right now is grab some breakfast, and then once I'm finished with breakfast, we'll move on to morning chores. And then once morning chores is done, I mean, we're heading out to the fields. So I was given a little mission by Dad. He gave me a call and asked me to come out to the fields to check on my mom. My mom had came out here earlier to harvest some basil and parsley, but it's pretty muddy out here and she took the van. So we just want to make sure she isn't stuck. This is what we were concerned about. Yeah, if you were driving through this with the van, you would be stuck. Well, I cannot tell where she was picking in the basil or the parsley, but she's not out here. And she's definitely not stuck in that big mud puddle. Well, I'll have to let Dad know she's not out here in the fields. So I passed Mom on the way home, so now she's going to get that parsley and basil. So we'll have to worry about her being stuck later on. Matthew is now with me, and we're gonna run up and grab some baskets so that we can pick some sweet corn. So the only issue is we don't have any sweet corn back at the farm. So Matthew and I wanted to come out here right away and get some picked. Some of you may be thinking, if you're gonna come out and pick sweet corn every day, why not just pick a lot and then you won't have to worry about it for a few days? Well, here's the thing. You wanna have fresh sweet corn every day. And if we can provide our customers with fresh sweet corn, we're gonna do it. Now this sweet corn is really, really tiny. It must have put all its energy just into making these ears because the sweet corn stalks are so short, but the ears are nice and big. They don't have any sweet corn back at the farm market, so I'm gonna run back these full baskets and the boys are gonna continue picking. It may seem like a hassle to have to do this every single day, but believe me, it goes a long way for the customers.
Fresh from the stock. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Gotta love that.
There you go, guys.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. Dad, there's Mom. She's not stuck. I went and checked earlier. She wasn't out here yet, but I can see her now.
What is she doing? We had an inch of rain last night, and she's out running around in the fields with a minivan.
I don't know what to tell you, Dad. She needed parsley and basil.
You better wash that van.
You got it all muddy.
I'm Mimi. I can fit a lot in this vehicle.
We got all of our sweet corn picked all together. We got 12 baskets this morning. It sure isn't the most we've ever harvested, but it'll be plenty for today. We hope. We never know what's really gonna happen, so we hope it's gonna be enough. That's dropping corn everywhere. Couldn't hold on. Well, it looks like they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 baskets of cucumbers already harvested. Now, I've talked a little bit about the new variety that we're raising this year. It is called Dominator. And I mean, at this point, it's easy to see. These cucumbers are dominant.
Dominating.
Oh yeah, that works too. And usually we will pick by ourselves. However, the plant rows are so wide, we're gonna pick together. That way we can cover the entire row. Makes it a little easier on everybody, not having to lean so far over. We have about 7 baskets left here, and they're gonna be gone really quickly. So Dad is running back to the farm. He is going to grab a few more baskets, hopefully a lot of few, and then he's also gonna grab the wagon to load these up once we're finished. We haven't even made it halfway through the field, and we've gone through quite a large stack of baskets. Oh wow, look at this. Just gonna move these leaves around. Look at this, all together. Look, I got all of these just from that little area. Beautiful. Now, if this isn't a good example of why we like trying new varieties on the farm, then I don't know what is. We always planted Speedway, which Speedway is a really good cucumber, and we've always had great yields off of it. But Dominator is something we've heard good things about, and we wanted to try. Even under those stressful conditions, the plants always look better than we expected them to, and they did a really nice job at fighting off any disease we've seen thus far. Now, there's always plenty of stuff that could happen with the later plantings that could change our mind, but so far it's been all good for this new variety of cucumbers. And something Matthew noticed as he was eating one of the cucumbers was that there isn't many large seeds inside the cucumbers, and that's because they haven't fully matured yet. So these cucumbers are this size, and they're not even done growing. And that's a good sign for us. But it does help us to appreciate that we need to stick with our harvesting schedule. Otherwise, these cucumbers could get out of hand. When you harvest as much as we do, a picking schedule really saves your butt, because if we didn't follow the schedule, we would have stuff that would get too far gone or too mature, and then it wouldn't be good for us to harvest. A lot of these cucumbers are on the large side as it is. But as long as this new variety looks good, and more importantly tastes good, well, we'll be sticking with it. So far, so good. The cucumber harvest has been really, really nice. Well, right now we are all out of baskets, but I do hear Dad coming back with the side-by-side and the wagon. So we're gonna move up to the section of the field where we've already picked, but along the way, we're gonna get these cucumbers lifted off the ground. We've got all of the cucumbers that we've already harvested loaded onto the wagon, 23 baskets. And Dad made sure to bring quite a few more back with him, and I hope this will be enough.
Better be enough. I don't think I have any more.
There's a bunch in the back of the cooler.
Hooray!
We just got finished picking up some more of the cucumbers. We're trying to get around this wet spot without getting our wagon sunk down in. And we're just about finished with harvesting the cucumbers for the morning. But I wanted to talk about something that I had mentioned earlier. I mentioned we were having a problem, and let me just tell you, this was an unexpected problem. Something we did not foresee happening. So in short, the issue is that our pickling cucumbers and our regular cucumbers that are in their prime and are doing a wonderful job at producing fruit are being caught by our second planting, which is now producing cucumbers and pickling cucumbers. Now, although the second planting is not as mature as our first planting, the issue is that it caught up quite quickly. And what I mean by that is our second planting was supposed to be ready to go right at the end of the life of our first planting. So when the first planting was really starting to slow down, wasn't producing as much vegetables, then we would move on to the second planting. But now our second planting has almost completely caught up to our first planting. So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, that just means more vegetables for you. That's a good thing. Yeah, I guess, but it's a little too much all at once. But most importantly, it's an issue because our second planting is going to be done sooner than expected. Now, we do have a third planting that we are starting from seed, and it's not quite coming along as we would like it to. And I think that's just because it's a little earlier than what we're expecting. This second planting is going to be done, and that third planting is not going to be quite ready yet, and there's going to be a gap. Now, hopefully, because the second planting is a little on the younger side, it will last. And with the weather we've been having, it's starting to get more moisture out here. There's a higher chance for disease, but we're hoping if we can get the right minerals that these plants need, that it will be able to fight off disease and last longer for us. So the big problem is this: our first planting is doing great, and now our second planting is doing great. So we have to harvest both of them, which takes up a lot of time. And the final issue that we've really discussed is that if our first planting ends and our second planting ends just 2 weeks after that, well, we're going to be out of pickling cucumbers and our regular cucumbers for a brief window. We're hoping it won't happen, but with the way things are going, it's looking like that's a possibility. So we're not happy about it, but again, it's just something we're gonna have to deal with. But you know what? If your biggest issue is that you have two plantings growing kind of close together, we'll take that, especially for these crops. We try not to complain too hard because there are people in the world that can't even harvest their own food. So we're just gonna be happy with what we got and hope the cucumbers last a little bit longer than expected. Well, this is where we're gonna end it for the morning. We have picked off our entire planting of cucumbers, and this is what we got. And we don't even have enough room. We had to put some in the back of the side-by-side, which leaves us with about 48 baskets of cucumbers. And if that's not a good harvest, I don't know what is. How do you feel about all these cucumbers?
I'll be glad when they're in the box sold.
Now that we're all loaded up, we're gonna take this stuff back. Do you ever remember having a cucumber harvest like this?
Yeah, last year.
Well, what about besides last year?
Yeah, the year before.
We always seem to do pretty well with our cucumbers, but how do you feel about Dominator?
It's dominating. Looks like a nice cucumber.
We are now home, but it is lunchtime, which means one thing: we're gonna get something to eat, and then we'll worry about unloading those cucumbers. Well, everybody, we have now made it in for lunch, so let's see what we are having today. Looks like we have sandwiches. We also got some salad here. Ooh, looks pretty good. Now that we're all finished with lunch, we're gonna be moving on to our next job. Now, Daniel hopped in the tractor, got hooked up to the mower, and he is going out to mow some hay. And the rest of us are gonna be here, and we're gonna be trying to get all these cucumbers taken care of. First things first, we're gonna clean them all off and then move them into boxes. And once we get all these boxes filled up, we'll have to see how many more cucumbers we have left over. Before we got started with cleaning our cucumbers, we got our washing station all cleaned up. Now we are gonna be running everything through this washer. It will clean it and polish it. I am loading everything onto the conveyor. Petey is bringing me new baskets, and then Dad and Matthew are sorting through them. So there's a few things I gotta watch out for while I'm doing this. One, that I don't put any bad ones through, because if there's bad ones, then I can pick them out here. That makes it easier. Also, that I let them run through a little slower, because you see this one? Pretty dirty. So we wanna make sure that every cucumber gets a good opportunity to be cleaned. And get them all nice and ready to sell. Now, with all the cucumbers that we had this morning, we've ran them all through the washer, and we ended up with 22.5 boxes of cucumbers. Now, these are bushel boxes, So that just helps you to appreciate there's about 45 baskets that have gone into this. I say 45 baskets, but it's probably a little more. I can't even remember what we picked already this morning. But now that the cucumbers are moved out of the baskets and into the boxes, they'll take up less room and we can put them right up into the cooler. Petey, let's go. We don't have all day. Now, here's the issue. Why did that take Petey so long? I was able to fit through that small gap, but Petey wasn't able to.
He's been eating a lot more lately.
As you just saw, we got some bins loaded onto the wagon, and we are now out in the field again. And when you look at the side of that bin, what do you see? Yeah, cabbage. That's what we're harvesting. Now, we have a lot of cabbage that's ready out in the field, and it's starting to concern us because we don't want any of it to go bad. That stuff looks so nice. So we actually decided that we're gonna be taking some of the cabbage to the Buffalo Valley auction, and that's where a lot of those cucumbers are gonna go. We discussed it, and we think that's gonna be our best option. So now we're just getting all set to get this cabbage cut. We're putting all our bins together so we don't have to worry about anything. And yeah, hopefully things go smoothly. And this is the cabbage that we wanna take to the auction. We actually had a 15-pounder the other day. Yeah, a 15-pound cabbage. You heard that right. That's a big old cabbage. And it looks like some of these cabbages are pretty close to that size. 10. This is why we want to get some of this cabbage harvested, because it's getting this black stuff on the bottom. If it cleans up easy, it's not a problem. The issue is when it goes throughout the entire cabbage. But it still looks good. Okay, you don't want it any higher than this, okay?
45.
Okay. 45, okay. So right where the tractor's at now, that's where we started, and we've gone this far for a full bin. Now you may have heard Matthew mentioning we want to keep it level. This stuff is all going to the auction, and these pallets might get stacked, so we want to make sure that everything's level, so one, the cabbage doesn't get damaged, and two, the people can take it home a lot easier. That's so good. Let me just say, if you have never tried raw cabbage before, you are missing out. Look at this giant head. Oh my word. That is a big old cabbage. Wow. We had to make sure Petey was protected from the sun, so we gave him a cabbage hat. How much is that? 46. All right, that's right. And that will wrap it up. We just got our third bin of cabbage picked. Now, we had 45, 47, and 60. So this bin we got 60 heads of cabbage into. So we have a lot of nice cabbage here, but we also had some stuff that is going bad. But we can't just cut it all and take it to the auction, and there's a very good reason for that.
Supply and demand. If you take too much cabbage, the price will fall out the bottom, and then we will literally not make any money on it. So we're trying to figure out how much cabbage we can take to the auction and still make decent money on it, that it's worth picking it and taking it.
Well, you have expenses in planning it and taking care of it all year, and then we have expenses in hauling it down to the auction, and then there's commission on it. So you don't want to take too much. Costs you for a pallet, costs you for a bin. So all that stuff has to be added in there.
So we're just trying to figure if it's a good idea to take some down this week or next week, but I think we're gonna try and wait until next week and then take cabbage down. So Dad is gonna take the tractor home with the one bin, and the rest of us are gonna go hop on the side-by-side. We've got the wagon hooked up to it, and we'll take the rest of the cabbage home. Now that we've got all of our cabbage moved in, we do need to make some room in the cooler. So after we finish moving things around in there, it's going in the cooler. So Dad and Petey have been over here getting some stuff moved around. They've got the auger hooked up, and we're actually gonna be pulling wheat out of a truck and moving it into our other truck. One of the neighbors lent us a truck, and it was very helpful because we were able to get all of our wheat done in a short amount of time, which saves us a lot of stress because we had a lot of rain coming. But we also got a call today that we need to pick up a calf from one of the local dairies. So we're gonna get this all set up, and then I'm gonna get the truck with the back racks on so that we can go grab the calf. You guys know how it is on this farm. There's always so many jobs that need to be done, and we've got to be running in all different directions. Dad and I just got to the dairy to pick up the calf, so we're just waiting for the farmer to get here, which he has now got here, so we just gotta load the calf up. Come here.
Oh. But you did find your check, right? Yep. Okay, I thought maybe you were somewhere like...
Here's the new one. Look at you. Cute. Dad said, all right, we're heading out, like 3 times, so I'm just getting in the truck. Maybe we'll head out then. Dad and I are now home, and we just got that calf unloaded and into one of the hutches that we have alongside these greenhouses. Now, most of the time we prefer to have the new calves be by themselves, but for now we're not going to be able to do that. It's with another calf that we just got a few days ago. So they're the 2 youngest, and they're hanging out now. That should just about finish up our day. What we have to do yet is get all the animals taken care of and get the farm market closed up. Well, everyone, animals are all taken care of. Farm market is now closed, and I'm moving everything into the cooler. Before we started closing up, I was talking to the girls, and they were explaining to me how busy they were today. I guess a lot of people are excited about all the fresh veggies, and they've been here to pick them up. Making it up into the house. Let's see, what are we having for dinner? Looks like meatloaf. We got sweet potato fries, and we also got some spinach. Let's check. And mashed potatoes, what a deal. We now have got everybody working their way into the house, so you guys know what that means. This is where we're gonna be ending the video today. I would like to thank everyone for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.